we ultimately need to change the face of government itself, right? And how do you do that is you have people who ultimately push the envelope and run for political office themselves. We often, can change the political discourse when we change the people who actually sit at the table. When we're at the table, when we're helping make the decisions and create the policy, we're there making sure that things are going to get done right.
But looking at the different sectors we all work in and how we can push the paradigm. So for example, those of us who teach in universities what's the art that we have our students looking at? So there are a lot of different positions from which we can make a much wider paradigm.
How do we bring the K-12 schooling back into this conversation?
The discussion of redistribution of money, there's a question of inequity. And there's a question of how do you change that process that distributes that money? If you have $1, how do you equitably distribute that dollar? And how do we approach that issue?
It's the fears that generate why we, people of color organizations, are not getting the funding that we need. And so if we try to rearrange these values, these fears, and say, okay, why is all this money going to the military and to the cops and to the laws that, you're going to go to jail, all these things that are funded and able to put more people in jail, to stop and frisk more people, yes. Right? There's all that money that could go into that. Why don't we put that money into, like you said, things that give people self-esteem, right? How come we can't switch that around?
The biggest thing that we do, right, is through the Department of Cultural Affairs. We're funding the arts, and through the Cultural Development Fund, which is upwards of $20-some-odd million, funding our cultural communities.
Okay. First of all, this shows you how much it is a lie when anybody says, no, this is just art. We're using taxpayer money, but it's just art. We're not trying to do propaganda. Listen to them. They are so bold now. They're doing it out in open. And we're able to catch them on their own website. Hello? Imagining America is the name of the group. And they were actually created, what a surprise, by the White House. But not this White House. Through Bill Clinton and the Millennial Foundation. Under Bill Clinton in 1998, he created this through an executive order. And the executive order's goal, ready for this, was to commemorate the millennium by honoring the past and imagining the future. So he used the opportunity of saying, we have to mark this in time, America. Look at the red, white, and blue. America, it's a millennial, it's 2000. We should pour some money in this and mark this time. But that was just the gateway. Imagining America's membership includes 90 universities: Columbia, NYU, Brown, the University of Chicago, the University of Washington, University of Santa Barbara, all of whom receive grants from, what a surprise, the Tides Foundation. Columbia, for example, received over $1 million from Tides just last year. Their $8 billion endowment apparently is just not enough. They need another $1 million from Tides. Not only is the university a full-time member of Imagining America, but their cultural for institutional and study change is listed as a close affiliate as well. Several of the organization's board members teach or are affiliates at the school. The University of Chicago, they got $100,000 in 2012 from Tides. In 2011, Brown received $10,000. University of Washington, $13,500 in 2012. UC Santa Barbara, $10,000. They are radicals. Several of the board members work closely with the government. What a surprise. So we have the government, radicals, and the universities. And some of their affiliates are actually public officials. They actually hold conferences and presentations about how to re-author American history, and it's all funded by you. Let me show you some of them. Jimmy Van Brammer. He is a close affiliate of the group. He's an actual member of the New York City Council. He's the guy in the video talking about giving upwards to $20 million in your taxpayer money to the arts. Pam Korza, she's on the advisory board. She's actually the co-director of the Soros-funded Animating Democracy. Bruce Burgett, he is the chair of Imagining America. He is the author of Sex Panic and Nation, an American Literary History. Sounds riveting. Randy Martin is another board member. He is the author of Crucial Moves, Dance Studies and Theory and Politics, and also this one, which I just love. On your marks. Relinking Socialism and the Left. Kevin Bott is also the associate director for the group, and he does, at a minimum security prison in Uganda, he does some work there, transitioning criminals back to freedom, and some of the stuff that he does in the prison there and the prison here, it's whatever, but it's on your money, your dime. With Imagining America, they openly admit to collaborating with, quote, a whole domain of robust organization with which higher education-based scholars and artists could collaborate, meaning that the Tides Foundation, the Tides-supported universities, is right alongside with this and government. They call non-academic cultural organizations, such as the Animating Democracy Initiative, the Community Arts Network, and the International Coalition of the Sites of Conscience. That's what Tides does. They take all of these, and it's all, again, a giant shell game. Everybody's getting money from the same place. And by the way, Tides gets money, of course, from George Soros, our favorite, and his Open Society Foundation. Oh, and there's another thing. Imagining America closely connected with the new U.S. Department of Arts and Culture, the latest addition to the progressive propaganda arm. In fact, the new department was at the Imagining America's latest conference. They recorded it and they promoted it, and on their website it reads, quote, "Together we create." Create what? New American history, reimagined.